course, over the next couple of hours. We'll have much more on this forecast in just about 10 minutes.
We have breaking news out of Aiken County. A Jackson, South Carolina woman dead after being hit by a car. The Aiken County Coroner's Office says 51-year-old Tanya Hood died today after a car hit her Friday night on Pine Log Road. They say Highway Patrol is investigating the crash.
Family and friends of Brindley Kitchens are continuing to tell her story tonight. Deputies say her ex-boyfriend shot and killed the 20-year-old Lakeside High graduate last week.
We're now learning Brindley was an organ donor, and because of that, they say she's saving 122 other lives.
News 12's Brady Chapnell was able to talk with her family and her friends today about how her legacy lives on.
This is just one way Brindley Kitchen's life is being honored here at Lakeside High School as her family holds on to hope for how her legacy lives on.
There's no words that we can say to get rid of the pain and the hurt that we just don't understand.
Melissa Testino knew Brindley since she was 2 years old. Her daughter and son close friends with her until the end.
She was like my daughter. I mean, she really was.
Over the weekend, they left flowers at the Rock Memorial at Lakeside High School. It's where she went to middle and high school and loved to dance and play basketball.
Brindley didn't have fear. She just was always willing to try something new. She just met friends everywhere she went because she was just so outgoing.
Friends and family say that's part of why her death is so shocking.
She didn't have enemies. She was just loved. She loved life. She loved people. And she didn't like confrontation by all means.
And she is now living on in the lives of 122 other people. Brindley's sister says she's an organ donor, and many are now calling her a hero.
Whoever gets that heart, I just hope that they love with that heart as much as she did.
122 lives saved by one lost so suddenly. A blessing to others that family and friends may never see, but still the blessing that she always was.
And everyone just needs to remember that we all have another little angel watching over us.
Reporting in Columbia County,
it's not goodbye for now. It's just see you later.
Brady Chapnell on your side.
Sounds like a wonderful young woman there, but Brindley's sister said in a Facebook post that Brindley was a fighter, one of the toughest people she knew.
Our thoughts and our prayers go out to that family. Just makes you want to know why.
And we'll keep following the story as that unfolds. Tonight we're taking a closer look at this video out of North Augusta showing the moments a fight broke out there in the gym at the Riverview Park Activity Center over the weekend. This is a high school club basketball tournament between teams from Burke County and Thompson, and you can see the players, the parents, the fans, everybody's getting involved here.
Yeah, News 12's Wrdw has talked to the park. He's talked to law enforcement about this video. So, Will, at this point, is anyone being held accountable?
Well, Laura, I mean, we talked to everyone who was involved in this case, really, and the Parks and Rec Department says that they're not liable for anything that really happens to this. And the massive brawl took place on this court right here over the weekend at Riverview Park. And actually, we had a parent come off of these bleachers right here onto the court, right where I'm standing, and he actually punched a minor right in the face. The park says that they're not responsible for these kinds of things happening and say there's some major changes coming to prevent anything like this from happening ever again.
We want to protect our staff and our people, and we'll take whatever measures that we need to do to make sure that Riverview Park is a safe place.
This cell phone video showing a massive brawl at a basketball tournament at Riverview Park over the weekend will bring changes with it after a parent left the bleachers and punched a minor in the face.
To be proactive because, you know, from our perspective, our main goal is to protect our facility, protect our staff, and the membership in our community.
According to the incident report, the parent's son was fouled on a play. The video shows the 52-year-old leaving the bench to confront the opposing player. The teams gathered around each other and things heated up. Rick Meyer with Parks and Rec says things like these aren't controlled by his staff. They simply rent out their building for the tournament.
Tournament organizers, their job to control the tournament.
But now he says some changes are coming after this weekend's fight. Renters will be required to pay for a North Augusta public safety officer to be on site. They'll have trespass warnings, and they will limit those teams from playing again. They want people to know this is a safe place to be at.
You know, we don't want our facility or the reputation of this park to be damaged. So we're not just going to say, hey, it's just another thing that happened and it'll go away.
Now, the Parks and Rec Department told me now this is the second consecutive weekend that there has been a fight at a basketball tournament here at Riverview Park. They hope some of these changes that they're going to implement help to never let this happen ever again here at this community place.
News 12's Will Rio live from North Augusta Boris. Thanks for that, Will. We are continuing to follow the investigations of how two men drowned at Clarks Hill Lake. The bodies of E.J. Kirk and Ian Wilson were found over the weekend after a week-long search. The GVI is also helping investigate. As of this afternoon, authorities say they are still interviewing witnesses as they wait on those autopsy results.
New tonight, Augusta Chief Judge Carl Brown Jr. planning to step down from the bench. This comes after investigations into ethical violations like nepotism and favoritism. We spoke with Judge Brown in the last couple of hours. He says it's time to focus on himself and his family due to some medical challenges. He's resigning effective June 30th. Mixed reactions pouring in over these new design plans for the 5th Street pedestrian bridge. It is a $10.5 million project that could include a history walk, some shade there on the plaza, art and kid zones, and more, all with the goal of bringing more foot traffic into downtown Augusta. As News 12's Kennedy Harris explains, not everyone is on board.
I mean, it's a good way to mitigate not being able to fix the bridge.
John Curry's lived in Augusta for several years. He owns Bona Cafe downtown. When he's not making coffee, he enjoys walking the Greenway and Riverwalk. So a new 5th Street bridge for pedestrians has him excited.
It's all a good thing for Augusta. Growth and expansion and more things to do downtown.
The city closed it back in June with plans to make it a walkway connecting Augustans to the other side of the river.
And the river brings attraction, but really there's no connectivity. So it creates more connectivity.
We asked what you thought. Many people loved it. Others questioned the safety.
We're going to have additional railing to the existing railing to protect, especially the small children.
Crime is also a concern for some. Back in 2016, a shooting at the Riverwalk made cameras a priority. But not many were added. In SPOST 8, the sheriff's office requested $1 million for additional cameras downtown. They got half of what they requested. But Curry says he sees the community safety officers patrolling the area every day.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll go down there.
Adding feature or security features to this bridge, if it needed, really should not be that expensive.
Malik also says there are many opportunities for development, including a zip line over to North Augusta. We're told all the structural repairs are complete now, and right now leaders in North Augusta tell us they have no plans to expand the Greenway or any development plans on their end of this project, but Augusta expects this to be open by the end of this year. It's a project we'll be watching.
Aiken Tech celebrated 28 nursing grads today in a pinning ceremony. During the pandemic, these students had to navigate a lot. Virtual learning, volunteering in vaccination clinics, and really a lack of in-person experiences since there was a shortage of nurses. So staff and students say to graduate in such a crazy time is a really big accomplishment.
When we came into this, none of us were expecting a pandemic to happen. So just having to learn on the fly, adapt, which, I mean, that's nursing.
These students earn their associate's degrees, and after passing exams, will work entry-level nursing positions or continue on to more advanced nursing degrees.
Some big news for our parent company, Gray Television. Gray is expanding again. The company based here in Georgia just agreeing to buy 17 more TV stations, this time from the Meredith Corporation. That deal will put Gray Television in 11 new cities, including Atlanta and Greenville. It also makes Gray the second largest TV broadcaster in the U.S. With the additions, Gray will reach nearly 40% of U.S. households.
Still ahead on News 12 at 6 o'clock, can the color of your skin impact your chance of survival when it comes to breast cancer? The all-new I-Team investigation next.
And we are still tracking severe weather across the CSRA. We'll give you an update on radar and potentially seeing more severe storms tomorrow. All that's next. Evening into tomorrow. So first alert Tuesday for that threat of severe storms. The forecast does look better later into the week, but a little bit cooler as well. Waking up in the 40s by Saturday morning.
Thank you, Riley. Chances are you know someone who's battled or is battling breast cancer.
But when it comes to chance of survival, an all-new I-Team investigation finds that could depend on the color of your skin. As our Meredith Anderson uncovered, it's not entirely with genetics. Not entirely. 1 in 8 women will get breast cancer in her life. 1 in 8. that goes for both black women and white women. CDC data shows it happens at the same rate, but the death rates, the I-Team found that tells a much different story, especially when it comes to black women in our area.
As a working mom, I was busy, you know. Angela Prince always put everyone else first. I would bust my kids around all over the place, make sure they're fine, make sure my husband's fine, still go home and take care of everything. Everything, it seems, but herself, even when she found a lump in her right breast. So I was like, it's probably nothing. And I was just too busy to make a doctor's appointment, which is crazy, right? Sure, she sees that's crazy now, but at the time, she didn't think she had time until she was let go at work. Well, I guess I have time to go to the hospital. So I made an appointment. Turns out the lump, now the size of an orange, wasn't nothing. It was breast cancer, and it was pretty advanced. It's stage 4. It spread to my lung. It was in my lymph nodes. Treatment had to be aggressive. Angela had a double mastectomy followed by radiation and 6 rounds of chemotherapy. I don't know if you noticed, but love my hair, right? And that was my signature. I'd have big curly hair all the time. That's my signature. And when it started falling out, I really I'm sorry, tear it up. I lost a part of myself. And, it's so superficial hair, right? When it was all gone, she decided not to wear a wig and to make her bald head her new signature. This photo was taken after her final chemo treatment. I was 43 at the time. I was pretty young to get breast cancer. Not according to a study at UNC Chapel Hill. Researchers found a pattern with breast cancer where white patients peak in their 60s, but non-white patients peak in their 40s. We have some of the highest death rates from breast cancer right here in this region. That's why Dr. Michelle Lee says she moved to Augusta last year to head up breast imaging at AU. Most women across the country, the #1 cancer killer is lung cancer. Not here and not if you're black. If you're a black woman in Augusta, your #1 cause of cancer death is breast cancer. We need to do something about that. Black women already face an uphill breast cancer battle. The I-Team analyzed CDC data and found their mortality rate is 40% higher than white women. On top of that, the American Cancer Society says the most deadly of all breast cancers is triple-negative breast cancer. It happens to be more common in women younger than age 40 who are African American. So the I-Team started digging into treatment options and found just last April, the FDA gave accelerated approval to a new drug. Trodelvy's clinical trial looks promising, but this stands out. 76% of patients involved in the clinical trial were white. Only 7% were noted as being black or African American. We kept digging and found the same goes for all clinical trials, no matter the drug. According to the FDA, only 8% of all patients in all clinical trials in 2020 were black. From 2015 to 2019, only 7% were black. Meanwhile, Dr. Lee says breast cancer screening requirements rely on data that's also compiled from a pool of mostly white patients. So, in effect, the United States Preventative Service Task Force recommendations are kind of racist, right? They're not taking into account how black women present versus white. We found Harvard researchers take that a step further, noting age-based screening guidelines that do not account for race can adversely affect people of color. They suggest we consider lowering the screening age for non-white groups. I cry every day at my job, and I'm pretty stoic, but when you see a young woman come in pregnant, huge cancer in her breast, it's too much for anyone. It's really sad. And this happens a lot? Yeah. But it doesn't have to keep happening. It could have, spread everywhere, and I could have died. When Angela's hair started to grow back, her storm ended in a rainbow of pinks, purples, blues, and reds. A bold reminder to other busy women watching right now, you are never too busy to take care of yourself. Somebody needs to hear this message, and I don't know who it is, and if it saves one person, then I've done my job. It has been 5 years. She still has a port in her chest where she gets medicine once every 3 weeks or so. She also says she has few side effects from chemo, but other than that,
She's feeling fine. Such an inspiration, and she really wants to make sure that people hear her story because she wants to save a life.
That is great to hear, and a reminder, if you have insurance, it's supposed to completely cover your mammogram. If you don't have insurance, Dr. Lee says, AU has a program to help you get that exam for free.
And you can also get a free risk evaluation to see at what age you need to start screening. Some women who are high risk need to start in their 20s, so really important you know when the time is right for you. It could end up saving your life. New at 6 o'clock, a judge will make his decision Wednesday whether the city of Augusta is required to turn over documents on the fire chief candidates who interviewed for the job. Wrdw teamed up with other local news outlets fighting for transparency in this process.
If you hire important people in a local government, the public is entitled to request documents about up to 3 people who are your finalists.
The city hired an agency that cast a wide net in the search for chief. From the pool of applications, they selected 4 to interview. We requested to see those finalist applications and were denied. In court, the city argued they did release records on their finalists. Their one and only finalist, Antonio Burton from DeKalb County.
Mr. Burton's candidacy only goes to the floor. He has not been elected. He has not been chosen. He may never be chosen, or he may be chosen.
Commissioners still have to vote yes or no to hiring Burton.
So the people need this opportunity to look at the documents and then go back to that commission and say, oh, you're making a good decision, keep it up. Or you better look at this one, this is a better candidate. But we don't know because we haven't seen anything on anybody other than Mr. Burton.
Our I-team uncovered a red flag in Mr. Burton's personnel file. That was news to commissioners we spoke to. A 5-day suspension for going to a liquor store in a county vehicle. But out of the finalists, he's the best one because he's the only one the city identified.
Our fear for the public is that this will become a process closed in secrecy and that there will only be finalists, singular, from henceforth.
There's a long history of the commission voting up and down on several candidates at the end of a process. So there's no basis for assuming that in this instance where there is one finalist simply to be considered, that this is a pre-established long-term pattern.
As our attorney said in court, that's a genie you can't put back in the bottle.
If the city got its way, no matter how many won under consideration, it could at the last day say, well, we've narrowed it down to 1 and we're only going to tell you about 1.
When you only have one option, there isn't much to compare.
Again, Judge Stone said to expect his decision on whether the city is required to release those documents on Wednesday.
To sports now, we're just a day away from the start of the Green Jacket season, and we now know who's exactly on the team with the roster. Mike's got the top prospects and local connections. All ahead next.
On your sideline, sports brought to you by the Hawk Law Group.
If you've been checking the Green Jackets roster the last few weeks, you haven't been looking at the official team just yet. That all changed earlier this afternoon as we officially know who we can cheer for and where some of our new players rank in the Braves system. Shortstop is going to be an interesting position to watch this season. Vaughn Grissom is the 18th ranked shortstop prospect in the organization, and he'll start here on the rubber. Keep an eye out for Tyler Owens. He comes in as the 24th ranked prospect in the Brave system. In the outfield, Stephen Polini represents the highest draftee on the team, coming in as a 5th round selection. I'd expect these guys to hang around a little longer than usual. Let's not forget, some of these players haven't played since 2019. If you're looking for a local angle, here's 2 players you'll also want to watch for. For UGA fans, shortstop Cam Shepard will start his season in Augusta. He started and played in 198 games with the Dogs, hitting a career 22 home runs and 119 RBIs. We've also got a Peach Belt connection with Bryson Horn, who spent 2 years of his college career with Columbus State. Back with one more look at the weather after this.
The